Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, and as always, we have the 24/7 news report. As always, again, we start with our headline news. And our headline news is that Carlo Ancelotti has told Real Madrid that he wishes to sign Richarlison. Madrid will look to negotiate a deal for the Brazilian. This has come via J. Castelo Branco, ESPN Brazil. I feel like this one we sort of saw coming. You knew when Ancelotti went, he might try and cherry pick a few of the lads that he liked. I did think he'd more go for, the players he bought in. But apparently him and Richarlison were very close. Richarlison really took to him. And obviously we rejected, Barcelona's advancements last summer. Richarlison's a very good player, especially on his day when he's fired up for it. And Ancelotti's clearly taken quite a liking to him. I don't know if Richarlison goes or if Benitez can convince him to stay another season. I don't know about that, but I mean, just when you thought you couldn't dislike Ancelotti anymore, he comes for one of my more favourable players in our squad. I really like Richarlison. I think he works hard, not just going forward. I think his defensive work for an attacking player is very good. He loves the crowd. He's always up for the crowd. I know it's a bit hard. We haven't seen it for about 18 months due to COVID. But he does love the fans, and he thrives off the fans. And he's just a nice guy. I like the videos he puts where he's doing dance moves with the kids, or he's trying to learn English. He's just a really likable guy in my opinion, and a really good player. Still very young. I will say this though, it's interesting because apparently Real Madrid don't have a lot of money to play with this season due to COVID hitting them financially. I can't see Everton letting him go for any less than 70 million, and even then I think it's a bit poor for us to let him go for that. But any less than that, because we've already paid 50 million for him, the board will want to make a profit if he is going to go. And I don't know if Real Madrid have got 70 plus million just lying around to spend. Maybe they'll try and throw in Isco in a deal, but I wouldn't take that. I would say no. Like, if we want Isco, just pay whatever, the 20 million, 25, and keep Richarlison. And if they say you can't have Isco if we can't have Richarlison, then fair enough, you move on to a different player. Isco's not the only attacking midfielder out there, creative attacking midfielder. There's better, younger options that I would rather Everton go for. So Isco's not a deal breaker, it's not like, oh dear. But yeah, I'd be very upset about this. I don't know how it'd work. I also don't know if he did go, how that'd work with his Olympics, because we've allowed him to go. I know Liverpool haven't allowed Mo Salah to go for the Olympics. I don't think Real Madrid and Ancelotti will let him go. I've got this feeling he'll go and they'll pull him back, and then he'll be quite upset because he's already made quite the demand that he wants to go there. And he said previously he'd spoke to Everton and the manager about wanting to go, and that was said no. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ancelotti wouldn't let him go to the Olympics, which is obviously then a massive blow because that's what Richarlison wants. And I think the fact we're letting him go could play into our hands of keeping him, just because the club are supporting him in his dreams. We also have the news that Mino Raiola is talking to Everton about a move for Denzel Dumfries. PSV are yet to receive an official offer though. This has come from Marco Timmer on Twitter, the journalist for Football International. This is one that we will be linked with him all summer till he signs. It's good that Raiola is talking to Everton though, and although there's no official bid being put in yet, all the signs, there's enough talk, there's enough smoke that this could be a serious thing. And Marcel Brands and his links with PSV as well, you would really hope this puts us, in pole position, especially with Inter Milan that's saying that financially they're not fully there, which we reported about in our other video the other day, so go check that out if you're not up to date with all the Inter Milan talk. But yeah, hopefully we can get him over the line. He's a very good right back. It is a position we really do need to strengthen. No offence to Seamus Coleman, but he shouldn't be our major right back if we want to push for Europe right now. He's a great captain and he's a great backup, but we need a bit of youth and we need a bit of pace going down that right hand side. Not just in right back, we could do with a right winger with a bit of pace. We also have that Carlo Ancelotti has called Richarlison to speak with him and have had talks with a potential transfer to Real Madrid. This has come from Goal. Again, I'm not surprised by this. Obviously, him and Richarlison got on really well when Ancelotti was at Everton. You could sort of see the relationship they had with one another. I don't know. Apparently, we were already saying no to suitors this summer, and Real Madrid looks set to get him or want him anyway. Like I said, though, a lot of things play in for me for this. One, can they afford him? Two, whatever Everton deem as an acceptable amount of money, because we paid 50 million for him, so you've got to at least recoup that, and possibly more. Like I said, anything less than 70, and even 70, I'd be a bit like, well, we could have got more because of the potential he has, and he's still very young. But we'll have to wait and see on this one. I don't think we've also got the Olympics to think of, and if Ancelotti wasn't going to let him go when he was Everton manager, he's not going to let him go at Real Madrid, because more than likely Richarlison's going to miss the first season, purely down to tiredness. The Olympics starting, he'll need a break of some sort. You can't go from the Olympics, Copa America, straight into a season of football. That's too much. He'll get injured, playing that much football. And then if he gets injured, if it's a horrific one, there's months out. So I can see Ancelotti saying no to the Olympics, and that would leave Richarlison in a real tough spot, because he's literally just said to Everton how much of a dream it is. But we'll have to wait and see on this one. Hopefully he doesn't go. I made my, when I said it as the headline, I made my feelings on this clear. I think he's a great player. I actually really like him. One of my favourite Everton players currently in the current squad. Him and Tom Davis, just to name a few. So I personally hope we keep him. We also have some news that Everton are linked with Wilfried Zaha. This one comes across every summer transfer. I don't think it's a summer transfer window if it's not Everton and Zaha. Once at 100 million, it's now dropped to 50 million that we're after him for. This has come from HITC saying that from Darren Ambrose telling TalkSport, for 50 million I think they'd sell him. I really do. We've seen it with Ben White. He is overpriced at the moment. Is Ben White worth 50 to 60 million? Then I don't think he is. Obviously, Everton wanted him a couple of seasons ago. We couldn't get him. We panicked. Apparently it was Farhad Majiri's choice to go with this, but we went with Iwobi. Now, I know Iwobi isn't the most popular player in the fan base in terms of quality. I know a lot of people like him, but I also know a lot of people don't like him. Wilfried Zaha, I feel at the time though, Wilfried Zaha for 100 million was a bit of a joke and was very overpriced. For 50 million, I still think, I don't know, for 50 million it's a different, but then that's because I'm thinking at one point we'd have ended up paying 100 million. I think we're good to say no then. He is a right winger, and that is something we need, or he can play right wing. I don't think we'd play him up front. We'll have to wait and see on this one. 50 million still a bit. I mean, I can't say if it's just the inflation of football, but I would personally pay 45, 40, maybe 40 I'd settle with. But we'll have to wait and see. He's a player we're linked with every summer. It reminds me a bit of when Benzema was linked with Arsenal every season, and Lacazette. They felt like they were always linked with Arsenal season after season. And Lacazette has transpired, but, Benzema never. So it'd be interesting to see if he actually does transpire, or if he's just one of those that's always linked with us and never happens. But we also have our news on Denzel Dumfries. HITC said that Dumfries, along with fellow European Championship star Denzel Malen, have been linked to Liverpool. Who has been linked with Liverpool, have been given the green light to go by PSV. So I think Malen is linked with Liverpool, and I think Dumfries is linked with us. I think that's what the report meant. Like we spoke about, I think Dumfries we will get, because there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of links there. It makes a lot of sense, and I'm hoping that sense prevails. Malen going to Liverpool. I mean, we'll wait and see if that actually happens. I don't think it's a player they need, but we're not talking about them. We've also got the news that Everton are plotting a potential move for Japanese defender Takehiro Tomiyasu, according to the reports. This has come from Sport Lens, who cite Resta de Carlino, who are saying that the 6'2", 22-year-old who currently plays for Bologna in Italy, after a spell in Belgium with Sint-Truiden. The Toffees are looking for a long-term replacement for Seamus Coleman, and Tomiyasu could be an instant starter for the Merseyside outfit. Everton do also face competition from West Ham and Tottenham Hotspur. I know little bits about this player. purely through playing Football Manager, so take that with a pinch of salt. I've not actually seen him play, but from what I gathered, he's got a bit of potential. I would prefer Dumfries, in all honesty, because he's 25 and he's hitting his peak, and I think that's what we need. We need peak players, and young players. I think it's right to get the mixture, but we need a peak player, and that's what I think Dumfries is, and he just looks really good. I have actually seen Dumfries play, and he does look good. So I'd be more inclined to say Dumfries here, but like I said, I've not really seen a lot of the Japanese lad play, so holding out there. And finally, we have more transfer news, and it is that Everton's manager Rafa Benitez is planning to raid former Liverpool captain Steven Gerrard's Rangers. The Daily Record cites Eurosport, claiming that the Blues want Finland international Glenn Kamara, but face competition from newly promoted Watford and Brentford, plus an unnamed Russian club. The 25-year-old enjoyed a hugely impressive season in Scotland and helped his country to the finals of an international tournament for the first time this summer. I've seen bits of Glenn Kamara play. I've seen bits of him from Rangers in Europe this season, and I've seen bits of him from the European Championships. He looks an okay player. He looks very much an industrial type of player. I think, a bit like the Core, which you could. I don't know if that's the type of midfielder we need. He can carry the ball, so maybe that is something. But the Core can also carry the ball, so it depends on what Benitez does. He normally plays a double pivot in the 4-2-3-1. So you're two more defensive minded. I would personally go Alan Decore, but I guess it could be Alan Kamara and Decore as the cam, because when it's defensive, it's a 4-5-1, so that would make more sense defensively, and Decore is good at bringing the ball out. That's the only thing I'm thinking there, but I'm not Benitez. That's just my logic on that. I think if it was my way, I'd get a number 10 for the number 10 role, but if you're going to fall in a flat 5 in the midfield, it would be ideal to get someone who could tackle. You wouldn't want, say now, James Rodriguez if he's not going to put a tackle in there, because he might as well stay up in the fort and not bother compacting back flat. We'll have to wait and see if Kamara comes across. Obviously, we've got competition. Watford, who will probably see this as a really that'd be a really good move, and Brentford, who are very good normally in their recruitment. They do it all via stats and Moneyball esque theory behind it. So if Brentford are looking at him, he must have ticked a couple of boxes in statistical areas for them to be looking. But that's all we've got time for today. That was all the news. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, comment down below on anything I've discussed. Glenn Kamara, do you like the look of him? Do you think Richarlison will go? Will you feel sad if he leaves? Do you think Real Madrid have got the money for him? What price you'd let him go for if you do let him go? Don't forget to say about the Japanese lad, if you've seen him play, let me know. Like I said, I personally haven't. I've played Football Manager though, and he's a bit of he's not. I wouldn't say a wonder kid, but he does quite well on there. So let me know if you've seen him play. Do you think all this smoke will lead to a fire with Dumfries? Do you think we'll get him? And Zaha, will you take him for 50 million, or is that too expensive? Don't forget you can follow the Toffee Blues on Twitter as well. The link is in the description down below. And you can also follow me on Twitter if you want to. That's down below. And most importantly, guys, take care.